Hey soul family, welcome back to the channel. This is the White Feather Tarot, and in today's reading we're taking a look at a message from your past life self about a past life that you're healing from. And to do this reading we are going to be picking 3 piles together. I truly felt this would be a helpful reading to getting to perhaps know more about what we're going through, but most importantly, what is their message? Perhaps you've learned something from your past life that your past self will want to pass on to you, or remembering something might help you realize a certain pattern, or who knows, what we're going to find out in this reading. So let's discover together and reveal the cards for pile number 1. You have She of the Woods. For pile number 2, you have the Herbalist, or the Herbalist. For pile number 3, you have Step Out. If you like to pick with crystals, let me add these. I think I should put them here. Let me add these right now. There we go. So for pile number 1, you have the green moss agate in the shape of a star. For pile number 2, you have the desert rose. For pile number 3, you have the Moldavite. All right, so take a look at which one of these 3 piles or 3 crystals you're the most drawn to, and that will probably be the pile for you here today. As I always encourage you, in case you feel drawn to more than one pile, maybe even all of the piles, trust your intuition. It is your magic that always guides you and leads you to the right readings. Once you're ready, please head down to the description box where you'll find your timestamps. Click on your times and I'll see you in your readings. In a few moments, I'm about to place astrological signs for each pile. For those of you that prefer to pick your pile using your astrological signs. If you do not wish to pick using your astrological signs, please pause the video, take as much time as you need. I separate the 2 parts out of respect, knowing that some people prefer it this way and other people prefer it the other way. And this way, everyone watching the video will get to have the chance to pick in the way that they prefer. All right, so I'm about to start. Please pause the video as mentioned if you would like to take more time, and I'll see you in your readings. All right, so if you like to pick with your astrological signs, here are the 12 signs. We're going to be like shuffling them a little bit and then picking 4 astrological signs for each of these 3 piles. So let's see what pile number 1 has. This one popped out. Let's see what this is. So we have Capricorn, we have Scorpio, we have Aries, and we have Taurus. So that is pile number 1. Pile number 2, We have Virgo. We have Leo. We have Sagittarius. And we have Gemini. For pile number 3, we have Aquarius. We have Cancer. We have Libra. And finally, we have our beautiful Pisces. You guys asked me, should you pick using Western or Vedic astrology? I personally do it with the intention of Western astrology, but please pick using your preferred system. Some people only use Vedic astrology and some people use only Western astrology. In that case, please use your preferred method. These signs are only there to make it easy for you to pick your piles, to know that this is your pile. Also, another question is using your sun, your moon, or your rising, whether you should use your sun, your moon, and your rising. I always suggest to use your rising first. It is the one that you will feel will resonate with you the most, that deals with your outside world. But also, you know, how can one resist using their sun sign? So please do it in the way you prefer. These are all there just to make your picking process easier so that you can focus on the reading. Other people like to pick using numbers with the timestamps. It is all up to you. Before you begin a reading, decide, I'm going to do it with this way. Pick what you are the most drawn to, or what you've decided to pick with. Sun, rising, whatever it is. And, you know, just don't think too much about it. Just decide, I'm going to do that. You know, let it come into your mind. I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick that. Then watch it, see where it falls, and join your reading. All right, my dear soul family, I'll see you in your readings. Hi, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. You were drawn to the beautiful green moss agate in the shape, I feel this, well, there too, in the shape of a star, as well as the card She of the Woods. And on this card, we have peace, connection, and home. If you preferred to pick by star signs, then this part would only resonate with you. In this case, welcome Taurus, Capricorn, Scorpio, and Aries to your reading. Okay, so we need space right here. So today we're taking a look at a message from your past life self about a past life that you are healing from. Oh, I feel this one. Let's see what their message is to you today. Their message to you today is regarding this past life that you are now healing from. Okay, so let's check out your oracle cards first. We can, would this one fit right here? Yeah, that one would fit. So you have throat chakra with workaholic. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. These two cards kind of have negating energy. I'll tell you why in a moment. So you also have effort, the builder. Oh, there we go. The builder. Okay. Okay. You have intuition with knowing. Wow, okay. Let's check your Rumi cards. So here it says, you are in the ear, you are in the mind, you are in every burning heart. What am I saying? You are I. Wow. Okay. Let's check out your last oracle card. So here you have cleanse. Very, very cool. I think the message has been very consistent. And you have courtship. Right. Now, let's take a look at your tarot cards. So what is your message from your past life self about a life that you are healing from? So you've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I feel this one, 9. Okay. So you have the Star card. The Ace of Cups. The Six of Wands. The Sun card. Wow. All right. The Knight of Wands. The Empress. Very interesting. I'm seeing a theme here. You have the Four of Swords. You have the Queen of Swords. And we have one more tarot card. Perhaps if we move this up a little bit, we can fit it right here. So you have the Seven of Wands. Right. So what happened here in the past life, or what is your message from your past life self? You know, seeing the Star card at the very beginning of your reading truly shows that your past life self is talking about some important healing and cleansing that they definitely, that they want you to do, to look with the Ace of Cups and feel, to look, because this is through the looking glass, to look and to feel about a certain situation in a different manner. Looking at it and seeing something in a different manner with the Six of Wands will make you a winner. So let's see what this is all about. I see here the opposite energies are here, she of the woods. We see connection with nature. We see silence. We see silence in order to tap into our inner self and hear what our mind and soul and inner wisdom has to tell us. While here with the workaholic, this is an overactive throat chakra, which is more about talking and less about listening, especially that it's overactive. So whatever this situation is, which we're gonna find out about in a moment, the first message, clear message that I'm seeing your past life passing on to you, it's to speak more, my apologies, is to speak less and do more. And to not worry too much about the income of information, because it says you are in the ear, you are in the mind. So you are I, which means that the more you sit in silence, the more you'll be able to tap into your past life wisdom, the things that your soul has learned from that important past life of your life. Because as difficult and challenging as it was, the more you actually learned from it. I want to say, as difficult as it was, as fruitful and beneficial as it was. That's what I'm trying to say. And because it was so hard this past life, perhaps you're healing a lot of the emotions, but maybe towards the end of your life, you've gained a lot of wisdom that your past life has hoped that in this life, you would be using to finally heal from the challenges and the difficulties you've gone through. So what are these difficulties? For some of you, since I'm seeing courtship, it could be your relationships with others, or maybe your capability of building intimate relationships or romantic connections with others, or maybe feeling safe within connections, any type of connections, or being able to speak and connect with others. Because here we have blue, and it also has to do with throat chakra. So maybe you're cleansing your throat chakra, or you are healing your connections with others and starting anew in this area. So what happens? Well, for starters, I see some consistent energy here. Do you see the amount of queens and kings? Even in the Four of Swords, you have the Red King in Alice in Wonderland. You have the Queen of Swords. Here you have the Red Queen, the White Queen, and Alice being promoted as queen when she won the chess game. And then you have the Knight and the players. You have the Unicorn, who was playing for the White King's crown. So it is quite surprising, and we've noticed from the very beginning, all of these characters from pertaining specifically to that chess game. So yeah, all of them nearly are talking about, all of them nearly, except for these two cards here, which were your advice, are talking about a chess game. So it does seem to me that you were with the Star especially, and the Red King, all of these court cards, excuse me, it seems like you were in a very high position in your past life, a very unique high position. Perhaps with the Star card here, you might have been the one on top. It could be that you were a king and emperor. It could have been that you were the CEO of a huge empire, the president of a country, a pharaoh. Who knows? But there is no question that your cards are showing that you had a very high position. And at some point of your life, because with the Four of Swords here, you seem to me like you were someone who was very comfortable in their position. It didn't look like, to you at least, that there would be anyone anytime soon trying to take your place. You were in the highest position. You were with the Four of Swords, very peaceful, very calm, kind, very capable. With the King of Hearts sleeping here in the chess piece, you know how the king doesn't have a lot of moves, and it is the rest of the pieces that are in the game. So it looks like you were the one on top, and you had maybe your army, or if this is like an organization, you had the people you hired, and they were the ones who were at the front of the battlefield, at the front of the market, and they were the ones who were doing everything. So at the end of the day, it looks like you were very comfortable in your place, in this high position, loved, you were secure, and it was your rightful place. And you weren't very much concerned with the Four of Swords here, because it looks like maybe you were so just. People, you were very well loved, and so you did not think really that anything would happen. Not to mention that you probably had a huge team or a country that absolutely loved you. And so, as a summary, you were very comfortable. And you were a good soul yourself as well. Very sharp, very smart. You were running things justly and rightly. And you were calm and relaxed. You did not think in a million years, because with the chess pieces going on here, everyone's fighting for a position. It seems like perhaps you weren't very well aware that there were so many people playing a political game, trying to take each other's places, and specifically yours. So, it's really interesting. I feel like I started this reading with my throat chakra. Like, I have to go like this all the time. I've prepared some tea so that I don't have to do that. And so you also have the throat chakra. We need not forget. Maybe you were supposed to show your power and speak out. Perhaps you speaking out and not resting so much, that's right, would have been the one thing that wouldn't have invited all these weak souls who wanted to take power, forget about what their goals were, forget about what their roles were. Perhaps that resting and not speaking for one reason or the other, because I keep going and not focusing on the throat chakra. And I think I just noticed it now when I took a sip of my tea. That what you've learned is that the mistake was feeling super safe, being that rested, and not showing your power even though you had it. And you could have easily used this power to shut off any trials of anyone who's trying to do anything that is crossing their boundaries. Maybe they thought it was their right. Maybe they thought you were kind. Whatever the reasons was, I remember as I once was reading about Gauri Devi, Kali. There's something that I read about that was very interesting. And Gauri Devi is the champion of the sweet souls. This is what I'm remembering here. She's the champion of the sweet souls with the fierce hearts. And that's the combination that I see in you, my dear pal number one. A sweet soul that has a fierce heart. And what was the part I wanted to tell you about here with Kali? I don't know why. I just forgot. Oh, yes, setting boundaries. Yes. So I read that it is loving to speak the language of people, even if this is not your language. Let's say your language is to be kind and to speak respectfully with others. That it's loving to speak other people's language. Some people don't understand this language. What they understand is clear-cut communication that is fierce about what you don't like and what's allowed and what's not allowed in terms of your boundaries. This is loving in its nature because it makes these people understand and not put themselves into these types of situations with you. And so things are clear from the very beginning. In fact, with that, I read about a sage that worshipped Kali who gave a really interesting story. He said, not a sage, sorry, someone who, what are they called? Saint, what's wrong with me? Yes, a saint, a Hindu saint. My apologies, I'm just trying to help soothe my throat. So this saint was talking about a past story of a snake that was really strong, big, and was troubling a village, killing people, biting people, using their venomous poison. And the locals in the village were really disturbed by the snake, who was wreaking havoc and creating chaos within the village. So one time, a sage went to this village to try sort this problem and explain the consequences of what the snake was doing, and showed him just how much he was making families suffer and how much he was wreaking havoc in the city. And the snake realized that what he was doing was actually harming others, learned that lesson, and promised to never do that again. So looks like the job was done. The snake was very peaceful from this moment moving forward. Never, now that the snake understood the consequences of his actions, vowed, in fact, to never come near these villagers ever again. So after a while, the sage heard more news about the snake. This time he heard that children in the village were playing with the snake, and they were scratching his skin and bothering him. And because of all of the games they were playing on the snake, trying to find their power and joke around, the snake was dearly hurt, really hurt, by the plays of these children or teenagers. So the sage was really disturbed by the news. He went back to the village and he talked to the snake. And he said, "Why are you allowing this to happen?" And the snake said, "I vowed to never hurt any of these villagers again." And so the sage this time told him that being unfair to yourself and hurting yourself is equally unfair. And just like you aren't supposed to hurt these villagers, you are not supposed to allow hurt to be inflicted upon you. And so maybe you don't want to bite and use your venom, but don't forget your capability to hiss. And so the snake from this moment forward didn't hurt the villagers, but remembered. And that's what Gauri Devi is about, by the way. I don't know why we started talking about Kali, but this is the combination. Gauri Devi being the champion of the sweet souls with the fierce hearts. That's what I'm seeing here. So the message is, don't forget that you have internal fierceness. You might be a sweet, peaceful person, but never forget that you have a fierce side. So you're equipped with your fierceness that you can use whenever you want. Second thing is, I think here, your past self is talking about boundaries. And to not use this fierce power when things go wrong, and to use it from the very beginning. In fact, to rest in your peace, but also displaying your strong side. And this is a loving act because you allow others to realize that it's not as easy as they thought, and so they won't find themselves in a battle that maybe they didn't necessarily want to get into, and one that they got into because they thought it was going to be easy. Like, for example, let's say you wanted to pick a flower, not that this is a good thing, but let's say you wanted to pick a flower and you thought it was going to take you a couple of seconds to pick the flower, smell it, and decorate your house with, right? So you go there, you look at the flower and you go, but the thorns of the flower, they hurt you and you're like, ah! So now you have to take the rest of the day healing your fingertips, maybe a couple of days you not being able to even write. And that is wasted time to your work and to your whole life. And so you knowing from the very beginning that plucking the flower out like that was going to cause this much pain, you wouldn't have decided to go at it so easily. And so having the information that flowers have thorns would make you take different decisions. And you being very clear about your boundaries from the beginning would make people take different decisions, because if they were to choose from the beginning, maybe they don't want to go through that fierce side. And so that is an act of love towards others, to be clear and to set strong boundaries from the beginning, to use that fierceness that you have. There's no question about that. From the beginning, so that people who are other weak souls or people that are trying to heal, if they thought that it would be easy from the beginning, they wouldn't do it. it's very interesting. Your whole reading here is about people trying to take each other's places, and I see a combination here. Oh my God, how did I miss that? It's that exact combination that we're seeing here of the sweet soul and the fierce heart. Because here the Empress is beating, if a little background, when Alice won being a queen, she now had to deal with the Red Queen and the White Queen, and there was this toxic dynamic going on where they were trying to belittle her and trying not to give her her place, even though she obviously has it. So here we see Alice being kind and dressing the White Queen confidently, which is confusing the White Queen here, because it shows that she's unaffected by the games that they were playing. Not that she is bowing down to them, but she's rather, beating with kindness and showing that she's unaffected by these games. But at the same time, we also see another really strong part of Alice here with the Knight of Swords. Because here it is the scene where, well, I don't know if it's the scene, but I know the story behind the unicorn, where, the unicorn is fighting with the lion. And speaking of Alice, there is this interaction between them where he sees Alice and demands to know what she is, because he's never seen a little girl before. And I think he quoted something like children being monsters. I think he said, always thought they were fabulous monsters. And so Alice responded with equal sass, if that's the word. She said, do you know, I always thought unicorns were fabulous monsters too. I never saw one alive before. So she responded back with strength, and you see the unicorn in the story totally not just acknowledging her. He doesn't need to acknowledge Alice, of course, but realizing that this is not a weak person to be messed with. And he said, well, now that we have seen each other, if you'll believe in me, I'll believe in you. Is that a bargain? And so Alice would say, yes, if you like. So now they're in equal power. And so what your past self is trying to show you here is that you've always, from the past life and in this life, you always have this fierceness. And so don't be afraid to use it from the beginning. Don't use it towards the end when things go wrong, or in anticipation of when the second shoe is going to fall. Don't wait for that time to let your power out, because you do have it. But rather use that power from the very beginning, because you have been through a brutal war in your past life where people were trying to take your place, and it became like what you thought was a little situation that could be easily handled. Maybe you were noticing some red flags here and there and thought, I'm in a really good place. I've got people that love me. I'm smart. I'm fierce. I've got my powers. What can they do? What started out as small obviously went out of hand here. And maybe, I don't know if they were able to take your place or not. In the end, I don't think so, to be honest, but I think it caused great hurt, great betrayal, great sadness in your heart, because there's a lot of cleansing and healing here. But what's equally important in your reading is that I think you won because you were able to handle it in the end. And because here we see that you've rebuilt this with the effort, the builder. You've learned about the extra precautions that you need to take, although perhaps it might have been towards the end of your life, this whole situation. You were able to rebuild it back. You were able to stand with the Seven of Wands towards all of these challenges, even though you probably had a whole team or a whole people turning against you. You were able to stand there strong and face it. You have a very fierce side to you, and this is what obviously shocked people from you. not knowing just how strong and fierce you can be. And so you've learned in your past life not to use that fierceness later, because you have it. It's part of who you are as a soul, a fierce soul, a sweet soul that has a fierce heart, remember. And so don't wait until your expectation of the second shoe to drop, or for things are nasty, for you to use that fierceness. I think what you have totally learned is, yes, to stay at peace, but also to combine that with showing your power. And that in itself is a loving and peaceful act towards others, because they will understand the consequences and they will not choose to put themselves in that situation from the very first place. So it looks like here you are healing your connections with others. And look at that. You also have a second message, which was like, in fact, the first message that popped out. Maybe we didn't understand it before we analyzed your cards, but I think now we can totally understand here clearly what your past self's message is to you. There is more to this story, and there is more about how you applied this learning. And your past life self is telling you that your soul, with your intuition here, knows the way. And so the more you stop talking and trying to figure it out, and maybe with workaholic talking, trying to figure it out, reading other things, please, this does not mean you should stop doing these things. Absolutely not. I just want to be clear here. This does not mean your past self is telling you to stop. It means that it wants you to give the time also to pause all of this and to get information from your own self, not just from the outside world that you're currently in. Because here in the woods, it's tapping into your inner self, tapping into you, your soul. And here, tapping into your intuition. See, you are in the ear, you are in the mind, you are in every burning heart. What am I saying? You are I. And so your past self, with do you see the elf's ear here? There's an emphasis on listening by tuning in. So here your advice is to do more meditation, because by going into silence, by tapping into nature, maybe you can even ask to connect with the natural spirits, the nature spirits in your area. They can definitely help you out. And to connect more with nature, to meditate, to go outside and connect, look at the different plants that you have in this area, the different animals, the birds, the insects, to connect and see what their wisdom is trying to tell you, and to have some silence time. And during that silence time is to simply observe these emotions that you have. To, if you're feeling anxious, to observe as a third person. What is this anxiousness? How does it feel like? What is it telling you? What is it doing to your body? What is it doing to how you're thinking? How is it affecting you? To look at it from the outside perspective. Just to sit in silence and observe from a third person. As if you're a third person observing for the first time what's going on. And to meditate, to sit in silence, meditate, because in that silence where you will be able to communicate and to connect with your past self and with your soul, in order to be able to retract the learnings that you have gotten from that past life, because you have built it, and to not repeat that mistake again. In fact, you are probably here to apply this knowledge and to strengthen the muscle, the soul muscle of becoming that knowledge, not just realizing it and knowing it. And so the more you tap into your soul, the more you'll get educated about the things that your soul already knows, and to train with that knowledge and build that muscle, which is what you are required to do in this life. To attain this knowledge, it's only going to come to you fully, and it's like how to apply it. All the other information that you might want to know, She of the woods connects with nature by doing two things: connecting with nature and meditating, going inwards. These two aspects are going to help you connect to the knowledge in your soul, to attain this knowledge and to practice it. Build that strong muscle where it becomes a part of you now to apply this advice. You know, this actually reminds me of a video that I saw once of a beautiful ballerina in her, I think, late years, 80s or something. And she was, unfortunately, as I read in the description, she had Alzheimer's. She can't remember anything. But once music was played, I think, if I'm not mistaken, if it was Swan Lake, Tchaikovsky, and it was so mesmerizing to watch. Suddenly, life was brought back to her, the muscle memory and how she remembers how to move her hands, and went up straight and started dancing all over again. It's like muscle memory is back, soul memory is back, emotion memory is back, everything is back. You can see that she felt that she was on stage, proud and dancing with such beauty and refinement. It was so mesmerizing to watch. So this is what I remember here, looking at your cards and what your past life is trying to tell you, that in this life, you're creating that soul memory of becoming it, not just knowing it with the knowing, but becoming it, to use that fierceness that you have to perhaps build your Shakti, build your power. And with that beautiful balance here, you'll be creating wonderful connections in this lifetime. And my dear pile number one, what an interesting message here that you have from your past life self. This was your message from your past life about a life that you are healing from in this lifetime. All the best of luck with that, my dear pile number one. Remember, you are the beautiful soul with the fierce hearts. This was your reading. I truly hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please give me a thumbs up. It does help the channel immensely. Subscribe to the channel so that you never miss a reading that I upload. I do post readings nearly every single day, and it would be lovely to have you as part of the community, this beautiful community. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next reading. Bye. Hi, pile number two. Welcome to your reading. You were drawn to the beautiful desert rose as well as the herbalist. On this card, we have herbs, medicine, and healing. So let's see how they fit into your reading today. And we're taking a look at a message from your past life self. This is in regard to a past life that you are currently healing from. So let's see what this is. Oh, this one moved. And why do we keep getting two? Well, we're just gonna trust the process. Oh, by the way, if you've picked your pile using your zodiac signs, then in this pile we have Virgo, Leo, Gemini, and Sagittarius. Welcome to your reading. All right, let's now take a look at your oracle cards. So let's put this one right here. You have marriage. Oh, there we go. Let's keep it right there. And we forgot to take your Rumi card. No, this one. Okay. Let's pull out this card. You have love, the mandala. Interesting. You also have challenge with opposition. And your Rumi message is, reason says, the world is limited in 6 directions. There's no way out. Love says, there is a way, and I have traveled it many times. Wow. Wow. Okay. Let's take a look at your chakra cards. So you have the heart chakra with victim. And you have the sacral chakra with self-worth. All right. You have rejection. Look at the oranges here. And you have sweetness. All right, let's pull out your tarot deck and see what your message is from your past life self. So you have the Ace of Swords. You have the Three of Cups. I'm getting a really interesting message here, but I think I'm going to wait. You have the Knight of Pentacles. You have the Five of Wands. The Judgment card. And you have the Six of Pentacles. I'm intuitively getting a very interesting story here. So as I was taking a look at your cards and they were being pulled out, I instantly understood what the story is. It looks like you had a challenge with motherhood and fatherhood in your past life. You had a very loving mother with the Ace of Swords here, but it looks like at some point you may have lost your mother. And you were left off with a father who was very well off with the Knight of Pentacles. But perhaps there was this giving problem, like he was very wealthy and maybe was painful when it comes to how this father gave you money. So I'm getting the idea that sometimes maybe the father controlled you with money. Like sometimes they wouldn't give it to you. Sometimes you find them being generous. Knight of Pentacles is slow. So sometimes they wouldn't give, which gives me this understanding of perhaps playing with money. Maybe they were, with the cockerels here, they were a bit, 3 times, egotistical, wanted power, loved power, and there was this money game here going on. And so with the Ace of Swords, love at an early age was cut off, and you were left off with a cold father that was a bit egotistical, played with money. Sometimes you felt they were nice, sometimes you felt like they weren't giving. And that really hurt, obviously. That was very painful to you in the past life, in your past life. And with the Five of Wands, it brought a lot of challenges. You felt like you were rejected. It hit your self-worth in this past life. It made you a sweet soul. It made you a loving soul. It made you a deeper person. There were many benefits, but you were looking for love, and you were afraid of rejection in this past life. With the Judgment card in this past life, you celebrated a great achievement. So your name was renowned with this horn. I feel like maybe you wrote some books here or did some work that you may even know about in this lifetime, not knowing it was you. You've done some important work. You were greatly celebrated. Your name was renowned, and yeah, people celebrated you. And we see other communities that you may not have even known about celebrating you and making use of this work even until today. So I think what your past life self is talking about here is healing some great pain, because you have victim here. And although you could have been a real victim to the circumstances that happened in the past life, your past life self does not want you to live a victim in this life due to the pains that you could be experiencing, because it is holding you from healing and perhaps even experiencing love, maybe. There is this emphasis on healing the heart and healing the sacral chakra of knowing your true value and worth. In this past life that is affecting you the most, you were greatly celebrated by people. But despite being celebrated in this way, deep in your soul or in your heart, you felt rejected. And that achievement, although was an out of this world experience, did not heal the pains that you were experiencing and did not heal your feelings of rejection. And with the herbalist, this is what I feel you've come here to do in this lifetime. Seeing, by the way, the herbalist with the animals here, this reminds me of something that I've read recently that was so interesting. I think it was called zoopharmacology. Zoopharmacognosy, if I'm not mistaken, which is very interesting. It's a science that learns about the animals that are able to self-medicate. Did you know that? Like animals like birds, bees, lizards, elephants, chimpanzees, if I'm not mistaken as well, they do have the survival trait of being able to self-medicate. They know how to like cure when they feel like, when they get hit with bacteria, viruses. Are they called tapeworms or stomach worms? Flatworms. No, not stomach. Flatworms. They know what to eat to self-medicate. In fact, as I was reading about this, I read that like if you watch your dog eating grass sometimes, that is a form of self-medication, because it helps if they're having a upset stomach, maybe there is an infection or something, they eat this grass so that they are able to vomit and release it. So it's a science about how animals are able to like self-medicate, know what to eat to heal certain things. It was so interesting. I don't know yet why I remembered this connection, but perhaps your past self is telling you that in this lifetime you will be able to heal yourself. Because I'm seeing alternative medicine. I don't know why. Maybe some of you are doctors, medical doctors, because I'm seeing herbs, I'm seeing the mandalas, which are also, by the way, used to, when you look at them and you heal. So with love and the heart chakra, you're definitely here to heal your heart from this past life and to heal this ununderstood sense of rejection. And I'm saying ununderstood, not only because it's a past life, but because we see an empty chair, there's light on this chair. So I feel like maybe you'll discover it. You don't know yet why. Maybe through this reading, you will understand why that feeling exists. I still don't know what marriage here is trying to say. Maybe for some of you, this is affecting your desire to want to love, to want to get into a healthy connection, or maybe you have a great desire for it and you're not able to enjoy it because you want to heal first. Or it might be for something else entirely, because the first thing I thought about when I saw marriage with Herbalist, I thought, maybe this is like being able to combine the right things to heal. So let's see how the reading takes us, my dear pile number 2. So I think the interesting message here is your past life self. You have a similar message to pile number 1. They're entirely 2 different readings, but the only similar thing here is the ear, the elf ear, putting an emphasis on listening to yourself. And I see your past life wants to say that what they failed to do in the past life was listen to their inner emotions. They were very focused on an idea that perhaps if they succeed so much, they would be loved. But that strategy did not work in your past life, and it did not heal it. And I think your past life is saying, don't focus on outside validation, because you already tried that, and you were one of the most renowned people in the world, dearly loved, but it didn't heal it. And your past life self doesn't want you to make the same mistake of looking for external love. With self-medicate, I think your past life here wants you to focus internally. And see, it says the world is limited in 6 directions. Reason says the world is limited in 6 directions. There is no way out. Love says there is a way, and I have traveled it many times. So your past life self says that although this is something you have experienced in your past life, that you're healing in this lifetime, in the lifetimes before that, you have probably healed this many times. Or if it's not healing, you were able to experience what it is that you're learning to do now many times. And that is self-medication. And giving that love to yourself and that validation to yourself, which is something that you've had many lifetimes. Before that situation, you always loved yourself and you always accepted yourself. And I think that's the most important part here. Giving your place to yourself and not waiting for others to give it to you. And that is by maybe taking your mind out of victim mentality, thinking that it is because of what the world did, and to take back charge of that, and knowing that the world will always do whatever it's going to do. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but to be in charge of our inner selves nonetheless and how we react to it. So since you've done this, you've always been in all the lifetimes, you have a soul memory that knows how to love itself, that knows how to respect itself and to accept itself. And so your past self here is telling you that you're here to self-medicate and self-heal. loving yourself and accepting yourself will help you radiate love and will help attract the right people to you, ones who you're able to love in a healthy way. Because there is sweetness to your soul. You have a beautiful heart chakra that wants to heal from sadness. So, how are you advised to heal that? It's by listening to your own emotions. Listening to the opposing emotions that happen whenever your heart is hurt or whenever you feel you're rejected. To sit with it. And instead of sitting with it, thinking, what is the world doing? We've established that they can do whatever they want. What the most important thing is how you feel. So instead of thinking of what the world is doing, you're thinking how you are feeling about it. What are you experiencing and what is it telling you? These are golden moments and golden opportunities when things like that happen. Because instead of directing your attention to what the world is doing, you're going to be directing your attention to how you're feeling and what it's telling you. And the remedy comes here. To give yourself love during these moments and not join in with them against yourself by trying to find out why they have the right to do what they're doing, what you could be missing or lacking, but rather to listen to you so that your inner self has a voice and your pain and how you feel has a voice. It will only have a voice when you listen to it during that time of opposition when you're feeling unfairness happening. Giving yourself that ear, because obviously no one outside is at this point. And so listening to what you feel, why you feel the way that you're feeling, and what does this say, and to nurture that part with love. To give it the very emotion that a mother would in a situation like that, during that situation, right there, and not joining in with them without realizing. By hating how you feel, or hating that you're experiencing this, or maybe even condemning yourself, rejecting yourself because someone is rejecting you. That is the real healing. Observing these emotions and giving them love in the time where you need it the most, which is when it's happening. And you'll be able to find that love and that acceptance that you've always had towards yourself by doing that. Why do I say that? First of all, it's always, you always had it, as we see in your card here. But what I just noticed and was sure was that the squirrel and the acorns. Do you know that a lot of the trees that we see, we're lucky to have them because acorns, they hide their nuts for the winter and they forget about them, resulting in many trees. As all of these squirrels forget about all of these nuts. So you're taking back something that was buried, that was always there. So you're extracting that. It's not like you're going to build something that wasn't there. You're just healing something to get access to who you always were. In the past, just like an oak tree, who's there today, because in the past, a squirrel had buried it and forgotten. So it's something within you You're just healing to get access back to it. Many, 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 many times. In all of your lifetimes, it was always there. And you're getting access back to that. You're finding your place and position again. So when you're in the moment, when you're feeling triggers or when you're feeling bad, take it as your golden opportunity to give that inner voice that is feeling victimized or feeling sad or feeling rejected a voice, and to hear it out. How are you feeling? Tell me. What's wrong? Why do you feel this way? Don't you know that you're the most amazing thing that happened since sliced bread? So you want to give that love with your mind, with the Ace of Swords, during that specific time where you need it the most. And to stop looking for outside validation, because in your past life, you got it like no other, perhaps. You were like way up there. And in this lifetime, you're healing to go within, healing it within, because you'll find your acorn. Or right now, it's going to be your oak tree. You've always had it. And I heard in my mind, you've always had it, baby. So this is your message from your past life self about a past life that you are healing from in this one. My dear pal number 1, thank you so much for tuning in. This was your reading. I truly hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please give me a thumbs up. It does help the channel immensely. Subscribe to the channel so that you never miss a reading that I upload. I do post readings nearly every single day, and it would be lovely to have you as part of this beautiful community. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next reading. Bye. Hi, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. You were drawn to the beautiful Moldavite as well as the Step Out card. And on this card we have hidden, we have courage, we have camouflage. So let's see how this fits into your reading today. If you picked this pile using your astrological signs, then here we have Cancer, Aquarius, Libra, and Pisces. Welcome to your reading. And we're going to be taking a look today at a message from your past life self about a life that is affecting you, one that you're healing from today. Okay, so let's see what this is all about. Let's place one card here. So you have house. Oh, very interesting. Okay. You have, oh, look, this one's sliding out. So let's take it. Right. You have integrity, the compass. Wow, okay. You have birthing, the release. Very interesting cards. I'm not sure yet how they're all gonna play together, but each one of them is really standing out. Speaking of standing out, look at that, step out. All right, let's see your Rumi card. So you have, I was dead, I became alive. I was tears, I became laughter. The power of love arrived and made me everlasting power. Wow, wow. Okay, let's now take a look at your chakra cards. The power of love arrived. It feels like someone's birthing something here. And made me everlasting power. So cool. You have the throat chakra with workaholic. You have the sacral chakra with impasse. Would this fit here? No. You have passion. And you have magic. Okay, let's now take a look at your tarot cards and see what is your message from your past life self about a past life that you are healing from today. All right. So we've got a lot of cards for this reading. Let's find out. You have the Nine of Swords, the Knight of Cups, the Judgment card. Can we fit one in here? I think we can. All right. You have the Three of Cups, the Chariot, the Strength card, the King of Wands, and you have the Page of Pentacles. We do have 3 more cards. We'll keep them in here, and they're out for a reason. We're gonna find out why they're out. Now the Strength card is really grabbing my attention here because it reminds me of the sorry, I just got lost in my thoughts here trying to put the whole picture together. It reminds me of the ancient Egyptian god Ammit. I'll tell you why I paused in a moment, in 1 second here. I think I see what's going on. You do see this girl trying to take control of a figure who has a lion body and the face of a crocodile. And it definitely reminds me, as soon as I saw it, I've seen this card many times, but today I was like, hey, doesn't this look like the ancient Egyptian god Ammit? I know that the front part is of a hippopotamus, but in general it has the back part of a lion, the front part of a hippopotamus, and the head of a crocodile. And so this instantly reminded me of evil, because the god Ammit is a very strong god. It's the god of the underworld, but sometimes the god Ammit could be associated with evil. So the reason I paused several times here, what I was putting together is magic next to impasse. So this looks to me, with the throat chakra, someone speaking out a spell passionately that created some sort of magic, and that magic paused that passion or that power that you have had. And that is in a past life, of course. You can even see here the Oracle of Delphi giving bad news and the king crying. I really feel like you had some sort of power with the king here, and you had a lot of power, you had a lot of passion, there was a lot of strength to you. And in a past life, it seems like someone has spoken out a spell, a magic spell that did put you at a pause. With the sacral chakra, you know, this is your energy of charisma. It is your energy of creativity. That could also be a thing. It is your energy, it's your sexual power. It's so many things. And I feel like someone has played in your past energy with that, affecting you today on how you are able to move along with things. I would say, because you have the sacral chakra here and the step out card, you have step out, hidden, courage, camouflage. I feel like where you were standing out before with your character and your charisma and your love for life and your character, yeah? you started undermining yourself and who you are and sort of blending in with the camouflage here. I do know, reading the guidebook, that with the runes here, the meanings are, the combinations are step out, of course, which we see as the main, keyword of the card. So I know there is step out, I know there is be seen, and I know there is shine. So here, in being rebirthed into this lifetime, for sure, you're here, see the release, you're here to heal that curse or heal that magic. And you do see here, I was dead, I became alive. I was tears, I became laughter. So you're here with your power, because obviously even if that spell had an effect on you, you are a source of power with that passion, raw power that no one can take away from you. Maybe it can affect you, but no one can take that from you. And so you're here to bring that power back in this lifetime, remove this curse, and be able to release yourself from this impasse that perhaps was directed towards your sacral chakra, mostly, maybe even your throat chakra. And so these two are like so preventing you from standing out and from shining as you always were. And with home and step out, do you see, I feel like it has taken you, made you secluded rather than being open again like you were. So you're creating power here. The power of love arrived and made me everlasting power. I'm sure the more we take a closer look at your reading, we'll be able to understand more what your past life self is telling you. But yeah, here we see some evil going on and some bad news. With the oracle high here, again, I get this emphasis of magic and mingling with energy, because an oracle reads energy. So yeah, I feel like there was some bad news in terms of your energy. Someone hit you there. I don't know why someone would do that, but I think actually if we take a closer look at your cards, we'll find out more about the story. Perhaps it will make us understand more about what you're healing in this lifetime. So much to unpack here. So what happened? And were you able to do something about it? Let's find out together. I do see with the Three of Cups here, I don't get this strong feeling that these are your friends. I get a feeling from the Three of Cups, an intuitive feeling here, because the shadow of the Three of Cups could be gossip. The shadow of the Three of Cups could be like people coming, coming against you. They could, the reverse or the negative shadow energy would be coming together for a bad cause against people or love or something. So why would they do that? Obviously, someone here wanted to take your energy and your power away from you. Why? Why though? We do see a group of people here, obviously involved. They are floating on the leaves of a river. So these could be mystic people who got involved for sure, because how many do we see that in your reading here? So mystic people being involved. Why? Why? Well, I can't tell you one thing until we figure it out fully. Obviously, this happened to you in Scandinavia. In this past life was in Scandinavia, because we have the Bevi Nida from Sweden, and we have the three princesses from Norway. So we do see Scandinavia here. Something happened. with some mystics. How though? That's better. Well, there's no question here that I know we've established this, that there is involvement of mystics. It's all over the reading, and also here in the judgment, the Monkey King who was able to walk on clouds. He was given these boots that allowed him to walk on clouds. So again, mysticism, magic involved. And I think this is our key to this whole story. I think you were amongst a witch covet, a community of witches. That's why you were hit. I'll tell you what happened here. There was once someone who joined your community, but kind of had new energy, like they were experiencing their powers for the first time. And I get this impression because of the story of the Monkey King. And the story is really amazing. It's a story in the Chinese mythology of the Monkey King, who was found on top of a mountain, and that top tip of the mountain split, and there the king, the monkey arose, the magic monkey arose. He joined regular monkeys, normal monkeys, and he was so magical, he soon became the king, and he named himself the Handsome Monkey King. He was so powerful, he was able to beat and defeat the dragons of the four seas in battle, and because of that, like I told you, he got his boots, his golden shirt, his magical wand, I think feather cape, phoenix feather cape, not cape, cap. So anyways, the whole idea here is that he started wreaking havoc and he started doing things all the way to, going to hell and erasing his name from the book of life and death. It was a whole situation. He was wreaking havoc everywhere, and I believe in the story, heaven was really impressed with what he's done. So heaven invited him to the celestial court. They were impressed, but of course they not to the extent where they treated him with respect, and he felt disrespected, and so he started eating this fruit. I can't remember, peaches, I think, yeah, peaches and things that would give him longevity. And he started like fighting all the knights in heaven, wreaking havoc there, and heaven finally asked for the help of Buddha. So Buddha bet him that he can't escape him, and he accepted that challenge, and he went all the way to the corner of the edge of the earth, where he once graffitied the 5 pillars, and being confident and comfortable, he laid back and leaned on these pillars, only to find himself in the hands of Buddha, realizing that these pillars that he graffitified and was leaning against were the fingers of the Buddha. So the Buddha put him into a mountain. Long story short, once he was only let out once, because he was taken on this mission to save the Buddhist sutras, or rather retrieve the Buddha's sutras. And along this long journey, he learned so many lessons and grew and wasn't entrapped back again. So here we can see that there was a new mystic with new powers amongst this coven is the word I'm looking for. Coven. And misused their power. The question is, why would they misuse their power? King of Wands. Someone new who had so much power. Yeah, oh my God. Someone new and was so excited about all of these powers and misused them. This was really a very sad situation. It broke your heart because it really hit you and affected you. And I think it also hit your stability with the red here and the home. It hit your stability, it hit your power and your strength and your feelings of feeling alive, and even your capability of speaking out powerfully. Creating some sort of impasse here. And you are here in this world, in this lifetime, to heal that energy. Remember when I told you I feel like it was the Three of Cups in its shadow? I feel like this new member who came in was very happy with their power, was not yet mature, and caused just like he was wreaking havoc in heaven. I feel like he was creating all this toxicity within this group. And I think that it hits you out or this person hits you out of being prideful and trying to show just their power. I think with the Knight of Cups here, you were very loving, someone who was very powerful, but used their power with love and wisely. And the reason I feel it was done out of pride, where did I get this from? I think it's from the story here with the chariot, the Norwegian fairy tale I told you about with the 3 princesses of Whiteland. So I don't want to get so much into the story, but the conclusion here, where should I say the story, from which part? So there was once someone who fell in love. Wait, I have to tell you how he went there. I think I have to tell you the story. Okay, so it's a really, really interesting, fun story of there was once a Norwegian fisherman who was poor and was trying to fish for his family, and after a long day he couldn't fish, so he was really disappointed. But before leaving, a fish came out of the sea, lured out of the sea, or like popped out of the sea, and told him that she could give him a lot of fish, but he had to give her what was under his wife's apron. That was the deal. So he thought it was harmless and was like, okay, fine, that looks like a great deal, only to find out when he went back home that his wife was pregnant. So he felt really distressed, felt really bad, couldn't believe it, and he went to the king, and the king took him and raised him away from the waters. Of course, his parents can see him and everything, but raised him away from the waters so that the fish wouldn't take him. So one day, long story, just to move with the story quickly, this young man felt like the water was luring him, stepped into a boat, and the boat took him to Whiteland, or took him to 3 princesses who were guarded, or rather entrapped, by 3 trolls who had many heads. And so through cunning and through strength, he was able to save these 3 princesses. The youngest was the prettiest, and he fell in love with this princess. And so they lived happily in the castle in Whiteland. And so at some point he missed his parents and he wanted to go and see them. His wife gave him a ring, and she told him, this ring is going to allow you to cross once and to come back once, so use it wisely. And she told him, as she was giving him the ring, to listen to what his father would ask for and not to follow what his mother wished for. And that was the deal between them. So he took the ring, crossed to the other side, and spent a good time with his parents. And so his mom wished that she would take him to visit the king, for him to see the king. But his father objected and asked them not to go. I believe he forgot about this deal or just went along with what his mother wished. And so as they were talking with the king, when the king said he didn't believe that his wife would be more beautiful than his wife, the queen, I think here Halvor, the protagonist of the story, felt so prideful and wanted to prove the king wrong. So he used his ring to bring his wife. And so when she came there, she was so heartbroken for him breaking all of the promises. She, I believe, scolded him. She took her ring back and used it to transport herself back home. And so Halvor was in real distress because he didn't know how to go back to Whiteland, and no one knew where it was. Not the king, of course, not the animals, no one. He didn't know where it was. And I believe it was a fish who guided Halvor back to his princess, and he was able to stop her from marrying someone else. So we can see here the king getting something so beautiful, his wife, and out of a prideful moment was going to lose that beautiful thing. So I think this member was so into their feeling and so enamored by the new powers that they have created. And because of that, such an interesting story that you have here and how they're coming together. And because of that, out of a prideful moment of showing their power, trying to prove themselves within the coven community, I think they hit you with a spoken magical spell to show how they are able to win over even the most powerful amongst them. So that power that you have is there, and that's what we've established from the very beginning. You have that power, and it is a matter of getting it back. What an interesting story, pile number 3. And with the release here, I feel like you're releasing something to get that power back. And I believe that this person really regretted what they've done, and I do believe that they did grow out of what happened here, because in both stories we see people growing out of it. But here now, your past self is talking to you about healing that hit that happened to you, perhaps in Scandinavia. And I really do see healing, because we have Benevida as well, who is the daughter of the sun goddess. And I think that you were hit because of you were really shining in this community, in this magic community, because the story with Benevida as well is that she was the sun goddess. When the sun goddess would come, the summer would come, melting the ice, taking away the depression. And I think, and because she was standing out so much, people first admired her. They were learning all of the different skills that she had and listening to her stories and everything. But at some point they did get jealous of her, and because they like gathered up on her, it maybe even like I felt from the beginning, people gathering on you. Like maybe this person was the leader, but they were able to gather people against you and used the spell, spoken spell. And so Benevida, because of these people being jealous and gathering up, left and never came back. So yeah, I think you were the strongest and the most shining out of this whole community, and this person wanted to show and joined with other, perhaps created jealousy with other people and wanted to show that they were the ones who were shining more and more powerful, and hit you. So that's the complete story. I'm so happy we're able to extract it. Now, let's take a look at what their exact message is in terms of this life. So you came into this life to release, find your power back and release this spell that is causing some sort of impasse in your energy. You're now not able to shine. Of course you are, but I mean, there's perhaps a lot of energy that you have to overwork to do something that you simply have. And so I see with the house as well, you could be, which is different from step out. I think you could be spending more time at home. You have your fence guarded. You have your guards up. And so their message to you to heal that, perhaps we can see with the 3 cards left. The card says, I was dead, I became alive. Clearly, your past self is directly telling you that although you got hit, nothing can kill you. And you are here in this lifetime to heal it, and you will heal it because of the immense power and passion that you have. Okay, so let's find out. We did know that these cards came out for a reason. So you have the Tower card. You have the Knight of Pentacles. And you have the 6 of Swords. The hair here reminds me of Rapunzel, but these are falling. So it's like you thought you can rely on someone, but was mistaken to see that you can't rely on them. Very strange message. I wonder why it's here. I think this is saying that the spell now is causing you to rely on others, and that is taking you away from your power. So if in this lifetime you relied on others and they disappointed you, remember that this is the effect of the spell, and to stop yourself from relying on others and to start relying on yourself, because that is what will get you directly in touch with your inner compass, which is taking you towards your power. I think we need more light. That's much better. And actually, as I was turning the light on, I was thinking, oh, look at that, step out and the light. I believe that not relying on others and learning to rely fully on yourself will make you shine bright. So relying on others doesn't mean that you're relying on others to do things for you, but it could be subtle things like watching where you usually tend to avoid doing something and maybe let the community do it so that you don't have to do it, or let the group do it so that you don't have to do it, or someone do something with you in the areas where you feel like there is impasse. So maybe you don't like to, in your work, negotiate something. So you're like, oh, that department's going to do it, or this person can do it, I don't have to do that part. Or maybe you are really good at your work, but you don't want to do any public speaking or anything. So it's relying on someone else to do that presentation, but not you. What else could be relying on others? Things that you may not notice. Relying on others in terms of shining out, of course. Like creating friends in a safe environment. Of course, safe is the most important thing. I mean, like through friends, where it's still your friends who kind of did it for you, and not you being bold and stepping out and getting to know more people. It could really be anything. I can think of a million examples pertaining to these two, but I'm sure by now you understand what the mixture that I'm talking about in terms of subtly relying on others when your past life self is telling you to step back into your own power. And you stepping into your own power is the only way in which you will get this power for yourself, and not relying on others to do it any longer. And so here your past self is telling you this is within you, and you have an internal compass because you have it. So it's about taking things slowly with the Knight of Pentacles. Like, you don't have to go all out and like scare yourself, but you can start taking yourself out of your comfort zone slowly, because both of these cards have to do with being slow. Knight of Pentacles and the Six of Swords, moving to safer shores slowly. Knight of Pentacles is slow, steadfast energy. So it's about consistently taking yourself out of your comfort zone in the areas where you feel like you maybe don't step out and shine, little by little, because the more you do these things, little by little is the biggest clue here. The more you will find your power, and you will realize, oh my God, I identified myself as something when really within me it's totally different and it's something else. So this is why you have, I was dead, I became alive. I was tears, I became laughter. The power of love arrived and made me everlasting power. And so don't believe what the spell is saying. At the end of the day, it's really an illusion, because it couldn't even take who you were. It may be reducing your energy or like affecting your energy, but it cannot hit who you are. And the biggest proof is the word I'm looking for this, is how the reading is showing that it's always within you. It could affect you for a little while, but you don't even need a spell to break that. It's about getting in touch with your inner power, because your power is stronger than whatever spell was said or spoken here. Spoken, created. And so really, the main idea here from your past life self, their message to you is to step out of your comfort zone. Maybe little by little, but to step out of your comfort zone, because it's the only way. You will see that you have something that you never knew you had. You'll find that you have strength and passion within you to speak out and to enjoy life to the fullest, and to find that inner power once again that nothing can ever hit. You'll find your confidence to be who you truly are. Remember, we always talk about, when we talk about spirituality, we talk about being your true authentic self, taking the mask. Well, your true authentic self actually is power. It's, I just got hit with an analogy. It's like having a beautiful ceiling full of diamonds, but it needs a little like scrubbing because it got dirtied all over the year. Let's say this is the spell. And because you want to identify living in a clean home, so you put these wooden walls around this wall so that you don't have to see these diamonds, these dirty diamonds. And so instead you started decorating it with plastic diamond. And so when people come into your home, they're like, oh, nice clean home. But you've identified yourself so much with this new wall that they would tell you, oh, these don't look real, they're plastic. And you would like defend how real they are, knowing that they're not. And here you're defending something that's not you. It really isn't you. You don't have to defend these plastic decorations. And instead, I see your past life is guiding you to remove these walls, remove this facade that you're trying to create, perhaps remove these walls and scrub the diamonds. Scrubbing the diamond is taking yourself out of your comfort zone. That is scrubbing the diamond. It might need a bit of leg work. Your muscles may hurt a little bit, but if you do a little bit every day, and that's the slowness we see in the cards, little by little, you'll see your wall and your ceiling shining, little by little every day. And so you don't have to do it all at the same time, day by day, week by week, month by month. Maybe in 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you would have cleaned your whole ceiling. And the luxury that exists in your life and how you're supposed to stand out just stands out naturally, because you don't need to go out like other people and work and bring these diamonds and to be lavish enough to even put it in your ceiling. It is right there. It already exists there. You've inherited this from your past self life. You already have that. So your past life, and that's like a weird example that I just got hit with as I'm doing your reading. So I see your past life self telling you to not depend on others, depend on yourself, not depend on a mask, because that came through the example. It doesn't necessarily have to be others. So not to depend on a facade, not to depend on people, but to rather do the scrubbing work, which is stepping outside of your comfort zone little by little. Because as you step outside of your comfort zone, each time it will show you some sort of power that you did not know that you had. And once you discover it, connect back with it, nobody can take that away from you. Day by day, month by month, week by week, and month by month, you'll realize just how much you're shining bright and not blending in as you're supposed to. And this, my dear pile number 3, is your message from your past life self. I truly hope you've enjoyed this reading. I know I've enjoyed it immensely. What a story. And if you feel like your energy is weak in a certain area of your life, do note that you're far stronger and greater than you ever think you are. And it's just about tapping into that. This was your reading, my dear pile number 3. I truly hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please give me a thumbs up. It does help out the channel tremendously. Thank you so much. Subscribe to the channel so that you never miss a reading that I upload. I do post readings nearly every single day, and it would be lovely to have you as part of this beautiful community. Thank you so much for tuning in, my dear pile number 3, and I'll catch you in the next reading. Bye.